All right, so back with another live stream. So we about to get busy up in this piece. So I got a few of these to do. I'm not gonna do no actual videos tonight. I'm gonna actually do a few of these live streams, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about. I'm definitely gonna do a live stream on the whole. Is Russell Wilson a simp? Everybody just chime in. I'm gonna try to do it around maybe 12 a.m. Pacific time. So if you in the East Coast, that'll be about maybe 3 a.m. But it might be a little bit earlier. I might try to do it around um, 11:30, or maybe a little bit earlier, maybe 11:30 if I can. But I got a few of these to do, so I'm just doing live. So we're gonna start off with Canelo Alvarez. So it appears that Canelo is just possibly in complete, you know what I'm saying, spoiled brat mode, because rumor has it this is just a rumor. And here's the thing, though. This is coming from Spanish outlets that you had to translate into English, and it appears that everybody is growing frustrated with Canelo and his antics, from him refusing to fight David Benavidez to just a lot of different things. And as I said before, a lot of people are starting to just turn on Canelo because he's just taking this to the extreme with his, you know, um, I don't like to call another man a diva, but he's acting real snooty and uppity. But at the end of the day, Canelo needs to be taken to task, because Canelo has far too long gotten a complete pass from basically his fans, from the media, and just from a lot of people around the boxing circuit, the boxing realm. And he's been given way too much leeway, and people need to call him out. All this stuff about Canelo will fight anybody and he's not afraid of anybody. Well, that's not true. It appears not to be true, because more and more reports are coming out that Canelo flat out told Al Heyman that he didn't have any plans on fighting David Benavidez. What I think tried to be done to Canelo, I think Al Heyman thought that he could bring Canelo in for a couple of fights, give him what he wanted, and then possibly call himself trying to charm him into fighting David Benavidez. And you just started to hear more and more things eternally what's going on with the PBC. The PBC have a lot of leaks. I'm talking about the people that work for the organization, that know Al Heyman, or know what's going on allegedly. They're they are getting information, and they're leaking it out to us. They're the ones that's leaking this information that's getting out to, other media outlets, not including mine. But they talk to people I know, and the people I know talk to me, or they send me emails, they text me. So keep in mind, remember who was one of the first people that reported that there was issues with Canelo and his money, and the type of money he was seeking from the PBC, and that he basically gave Al Heyman an ultimatum: come with my money, or you need to let me go, or I will see you in court. And as you see, Canelo is no longer part of the PBC because they were not able to provide proof of funds, pretty much. But like I said before, if you look at Canelo, you really look at his career, by default, I guess you could say he's a Hall of Famer. But is he an all-time great? The more and more I start to evaluate it, it's looking like not really, because a lot of people gonna have to tell the truth when it's all said and done about Canelo, and how he circumvented a lot of different things, and how he um, got rules bent for him, and how a lot of the sanctioned bodies gave him pass after pass, chance after chance, overlooked a lot of Canelo's antics. But now the report is he may be at odds with the zone. it appears that Canelo wants to fight Edgar Berlanga in May instead of Jaime Mugia. Eddie Hearn made it clear that he wanted to get Berlanga like another fight in, just one more fight. It's February. He wanted to try to get him in the ring by like maybe possibly sometime in May, or maybe get him back in the ring by the end of April. June. You know what I'm saying? The worst case scenario, depending on what happens in his next fight and how much damage he takes, and then going to a September showdown with Canelo. But it appears that Canelo wants him right now because he sees what a lot of other people see. That Edgar Berlanga pretty much has next to zero chance of winning the fight. In all likelihood, he's tailor made for Canelo based off his inexperience, and I think most people know. And then, to be honest with you, real boxing pundits are not going to buy that shit. And I think Canelo is at the point to where he doesn't care whether he sells pay-per-views, as long as he gets his minimum of $35 million. And that's all he pretty much cares about. I don't think he cares about pay-per-view sales. I don't think he cares about ticket sales. As long as Canelo's bank account has, what I'm saying, extra zeros added to the zeros on top of the numbers that's already in his bank account, I think that's all he cares about. But like I said before, this is just textbook Canelo getting away with this type of stuff. It's amazing nobody calls this dude out. Even when you have the people that try to question Canelo about some of his antics, you get people that, basically make excuses for him. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. Canelo is looking real bad right now. Canelo is looking like a yellow-bellied coward. I don't even like to refer to dudes like that who box, because at the end of the day, I'm not fighting in the ring, but damn. And this is why boxing is where it is now. Canelo was pretty much took down two networks. He played a role in HBO going out of business, and then Showtime because of what he did in his last fight versus Charlo. Charlo was a flop. Charlo was like the Charlo fight was a flop, like The Color Purple, that remake musical. Yeah, that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And now people are like, no, we don't want to see you fight the other Charlo. Because if you look at some of the, activities outside of boxing going on with Jamal, you really want to, and you just hearing some things. It was sad to see him basically, tapping in with Aiden Ross. And Aiden Ross, Aiden Ross, he kind of one of them dudes. He kind of rub you the wrong way sometimes, because a lot of times when he gets into it with people, his only return fire is how much money that he allegedly has. That's basically all he does. So, But then again, like I said before, that's what Canelo do. He sink a lot of these companies into the ground. But I will say this, as one of my subs that came along and said that PBC is at fault. Yeah, PBC is at fault to a certain degree, or to a lot of a degree, because this is what they do. They put so much stock into Canelo to where they weren't worried about the other fighters that was aligned with the PBC, that was with the PBC from its inception in 2016. People that was there with the PBC from the beginning. And then at the end of the day, it's a question mark of how some of these dudes even ended up, aligned with the PBC. So now it's to the point now where the PBC, to a certain degree, they put themselves in a position that they're in now, to where Now Al Heyman has a bad reputation, which I'm gonna speak about Al Heyman in depth, and probably the next video I'm gonna do pertaining to Frank Martin. And who, and if this is true, but I've been trying to tell you this about the PBC. And you have to ask, okay, what did y'all do with all the money y'all made with the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight? Al Heyman should have turned to sizable profit, and he should have put that money back into the company. And I'm starting to think that Al Heyman, keep in mind, Al Heyman was in the music business. I'm starting to think that Al Heyman is now, this just alleged. This is alleged. No solid proof information. This is you know what I'm saying? This is just a thought of mine. So I'm not saying this is factual, so I have to protect myself. I mean, could it be that Al Heyman, when you was hearing about these dudes getting all this money with the you know, the inception of the PBC, do you think possibly Al Heyman was giving these dudes advancements, like how, you know, running the PBC like a record label, where you sign an artist, you give them an advancement, and then basically they have to have a certain amount of fights, you know, that they have to pay back until basically, you know, the company is in the black versus being in the red. Because I'm starting to think that's how Al Heyman possibly was running the PBC. And all this is alleged. Got to protect my brand. But I'm starting to think, when you start to think about the stuff that Adrian Broner was saying about, you know, Al Heyman would just send me money, you know, it was like he'd give me an allowance and he would send me a certain amount of money. And then when I would hit Al Heyman up and ask him about some money, he'll say, "Oh, you don't have any more money." Because you have to ask yourself, why was guys like Deontay Wilder saying, you know, I want to get my money on time and all this type of stuff? So it makes you wonder, it makes you think like, okay, what the hell was going on behind the scenes? And then what make it even worse, of course, a lot of this stuff could be straightened out, but, you know, Al Heyman, he refuses to make himself available to talk to the media, which that's weird. So now you have to ask those type of questions, like what was going on? Because now when you think about all this kind of stuff, like, okay, so Adrian Broner was talking about, you know, Al Heyman would be sending me this amount. 1 minute it'd be 100,000, then it'd be this amount. Then all of a sudden it started going lower and lower and lower to the point, oh, it isn't any money left. And you have to ask yourself, well, damn, why wasn't Adrian Broner controlling his own money? Why wasn't he just getting the fight check? You heard issues with Deontay Wilder. You heard issues with quite a few other fighters. And now, based off the fact that they don't have the funds for Canelo, it makes you start to ask a lot of questions. Then you've been hearing about all the lawsuits with the PBC. Another reason why you wasn't seeing Al Heyman at fights, because you were hearing about alleged process servers coming to fights to serve Al Heyman papers. Nobody knows where Al Heyman is. So, like I said, this is just all speculation. This is all alleged. This is just something that I'm just putting out there. I'm not saying it's factual. Once again, this is all speculation. You have to say that. I'm saying, once again, I repeat, this is just speculation. I'm not saying this is factual, you know, but it makes me think, was he running it like a record label? In case you guys don't know, a lot of times when you sign with record labels, if you sign a 3-album deal, what they'll do is they'll give you depending on whatever, you know what I'm saying, depending on whatever your budget is, they'll give you like an investment. They'll give you like, okay, you signed a 3-album deal. Okay, we're going to give you $10 million. So that $10 million goes against your royalties, all that kind of stuff. You're publishing. The record company, for the most part, if you don't sign a deal where you have complete ownership of your publishing or your reels, then the record label owns everything. Because I know I used to dabble in music, so I know about all that kind of stuff. So That's what TLC was talking about when they sold 10 million records, and by the time it was over with, they only had like less than 100,000 a piece. Oh yeah, we're gonna give you a $10 million advancement. Well, the $10 million advancement goes on pretty much everything. Production costs, videos, all that stuff go towards the production, towards the album. So you have to pay the art. That's why they have books and stuff. So you have to pay the producers, and then they'll tell them now if you want to get the high end producers, at the time, if you're a rapper, if you want to get the Jermaine Dupri's, the Timberlands, the Dr. Dre, well, depending on what they cost, then that could take up a lot of your budget. So let's just say you get a track, Dr. Dre say, hey, I want 200,000. Okay, that's 200,000 towards your 10 million. Then you get another dude, Timberland. Okay, I want 500. So on and so on and so on. So that's how it works. So all that money that you didn't spend go towards the production costs, and that basically you don't see no royalties until after you make back the money that the record label gave you in an advancement. So that's why sometimes if you make an album and it sell like 3 million records, you still may owe the record label money. Now, if you have something left over after you know what I'm saying, left over, depending on what the budget was and how much you spent on videos and to producers and extra entourage, all that stuff. That's why most rappers at the time needed to go on tour to make their money. You wasn't going on tour. You heard several artists talk about that, from Method Man, how you how you go double platinum and not make no money. The record label is one of the most shadiest business out there. And keep in mind, Al Heyman was in the music business. Started off with the Budweiser Superfest. So that makes you wonder. And then he managed a lot of different, he had management deals with a lot of different groups and stuff. Yeah, they said that Al Heyman, had a hedge fund for $1.5 billion. They saying that Al Heyman allegedly pocketed $500 million for himself. Now, and you have to wonder, well, what did Al Heyman do with the $500 billion? Did he just pocket the money? Did he put it back into the company? This is why people is wondering like what was going on with their books and everything. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm just putting it out there. But I'm gonna talk about that in the next video. But it's funny how, like I said, he could find, even when he had Canelo on the first deal, as I said before, I really think that Al Heyman liked David Benavidez, and I think he was trying to get that fight for David Benavidez. But at the end of the day, when you got a dude that refuses to fight a guy, what can you do? And allegedly, you hearing all these reports, people are coming out saying that David Benavidez was never part of the Canelo package. He wasn't part of the first package they offered Canelo. I know that Errol Spence was included in it. So this is why I kept trying to tell you guys, when I kept trying to give you guys clues and flat out say what was going on. This is why they never really wanted to make Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. Al Heyman didn't believe that Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. And then the thing that they did to Terrence Crawford were basically what I didn't like what they did concerning Terrence Crawford. They froze him out. They were slandering his name. They were trying to make it look like they were trying to devalue Terrence Crawford. They were trying to make it look like Terrence Crawford was pricing himself out and all this kind of stuff. So when Terrence Crawford went to the David Avenesian fight, Al Heyman wanted him to take that fight. He's allegedly, and Terrence Crawford told people what happened. And then you had these delusional Errol Spence fans that didn't want to listen when Terrence Crawford flat out told you what was going on. He flat out said that Al Heyman was like jerking him around in a nice way. And Terrence Crawford was trying to stay on code when he could have been ripping Al Heyman to shreds. But then you had these delusional Errol Spence brigade fanboys sitting up here somehow, some way trying to twist it and turn it and point it towards Terrence Crawford. Now I know now all of a sudden people then jumped on the Terrence Crawford. We love him now, the Johnny come lately train, but like it's a little too late for that. Terrence Crawford know who was rolling with him and who wasn't rolling with him. So don't try to act like you cool with Terrence Crawford now. And now all of the PBC apologists, they didn't seem to had, crawled under a rock. They didn't disappeared. The super militant pro-black PBC apologists that's supposed to be super pro-black but got white wives or non-black wives, I'm just saying. But this is a long dragged out process with the PBC. They were playing game from the gate. And I told y'all about this. They put too much stock into Canelo. They were banking on Canelo being able to basically possibly bail them out. So, yeah. Well, that's what Errol Spence was saying when he felt like he got played. But of course, the PBC apologists and the Errol Spence brigade and the Terrence Crawford antagonists tried to put it on Terrence Crawford and was falsely labeling and finger pointing at Terrence Crawford when it was never Terrence Crawford. The person that prevented this fight from happening, who was always behind this fight not happening, never wanted this fight to happen, was Al Heyman. Why do you think Errol Spence hired like some outside management group to help get this fight made? Al Heyman was offered money to step aside and let the fight happen. Terrence Crawford said, hey, he found some investors. And Errol Spence said he was going to tell Al, and Al was talking about he ain't let nobody touch it. So that's for all you Al Heyman apologists. I knew what was going on. I told you guys once again back in 2019 that this was going on. And all I got for basically trying to keep you guys informed on what was going on, I got called a sellout. I got called a coon. I got attacked. I got called a hater and all this bullshit. So now, what do you say now? What do you say now? And it broke my, and here's the thing, it broke my heart finding this out about what Al Heyman was really doing, because here we go. We talk about, as black people, we constantly talk about how the white man be screwing us over and doing us dirty. But then what do you do when the person that look like you is doing you dirty? And then you supposed to stay silent. And then people say, oh man, you need to be on code. Well, it appears Al Heyman was the person that wasn't on code. Al Heyman put everybody that wasn't black, as far as the PBC roster go, in front of his black fighters. They were pushed to the back burner. They got the back of the bus treatment. And give your seat up when a white person gets on the bus and wants your seat. Al Heyman was the one that was like segregating and Jim Crowing a lot of his black fighters. But guys like me ain't supposed to say nothing. So there you have it. Don't hate the game. Hate the player. So, but yeah, as far as Canelo go, to me, he just needs to retire because he holding boxing hostage. Listen, guys like Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, they need to understand boxing could and will be fine with or without them. Floyd Mayweather is the one that won't let go, who always have to do something stupid or say something stupid to try to stay relevant. Floyd could be like Michael Jordan status, but Floyd is such an attention whore, and Floyd won't people talking about him. Floyd will try to find a way to get himself involved. When he said, I'm still the face of boxing." Not really. Not because we want you to be. It's because you won't go away. Floyd could be like Michael Jordan status, where Floyd, he could just, just show up places. But Floyd is the type of person, he want attention. He's the type of person that I'm talking about. Like how these celebrities be playing these games and stuff, acting like they don't want to be seen, like they don't want to be bothered and all this stuff, like they trying to keep a low profile. Listen, if you see a dude walking with like 4 or 5, 4 or 5 like unequivocally large and big dudes that's well over 6 feet, because it's very rare that you see a dude that's like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and then walking in packs. Automatically you're gonna think either they're a football player, a basketball player, some kind of wrestler, or somebody in some type of entertainment, or the last choice, security. And then you got Floyd who walk, he have like 3 in front of him, 3, you know what I'm saying, maybe 1 to the side, and like a few. So of course you're gonna say, oh, who was that? Okay, that's Floyd Mayweather. Appreciate the super chat. Oh, that's Floyd Mayweather. And then they'll act like they don't want to be bothered. A lot of these dudes like the attention. Yeah, you'll say, can I take a picture? They like the fact that you paying enough attention to them, so basically you make them feel relevant by asking them for a picture or autograph, just so they can turn you down, because that helps their ego. Oh, look at me, look at me. A lot of times when you see dudes like that, they want attention. Because if they really wanted to keep a low profile, listen, I used to do security. And if you work for like a celebrity, a lot of these celebrities, what they would do is they would enter the premises by themselves. But the security guards would be, they would be scoping. They would be, they would be in sight. Like a lot of times there would be hand gestures that sometimes the security would tell the client, like, okay, like if you feel like too many people crowding you, just do like a hand. So you would be trained to look for all that kind of stuff. So like if a dude like if he rub his, head like 2 or 3 times, that mean like zero in. Now, if he do just zero in, and then there's a gesture that you make like, okay, now you need to really move in. Like, I feel like a threat is among us. So like I said, I didn't do security, so I know how it works. Hell no, I hope a man did that. He fainted when he saw Floyd Mayweather. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Listen, y'all got to understand, celebrities, when they don't feel relevant, it bothers them. Some of them want to be seen to where they hope somebody's asking for an autograph or a picture, because a lot of times if they feel like they ain't relevant, it hurts them. But then some like the idea that where they just mean spirit, they like the idea of being able to have the power to turn you away, but they still want that attention. So if a dude did that, then that's a serious issue. He need to be questioned. But yeah. But this is what I was saying about the PBC. Al Heyman was making sure those Hispanic fighters was getting fight dates, but the brothers, there you have it. And I'm definitely going to talk about this situation with Frank Martin. Anyway, you guys, give me like 15 minutes and I'm going to come back and talk about the Frank Martin situation. Appreciate you guys.